Hey, Marie.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm good. Yes, perfectly. And you?
Very cool. Great. Doing great.
Amazing. Okay, David. So I'm super happy to have you here today and ask you a bit of questions regarding what you do and how you do it. So let's start with a very simple question, which is you are actually a coach, but of what? Like, if you can tell us a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so many layers to this, but just to stay high level with it, my wife and I facilitate divine ayahuasca healing retreats and psilocybin healing retreats all over the world. And then we also founded an entheogenic church so we can do it here in Texas. So most of what we do, in my side personally, I work really heavily in this spiritual healing world. And my wife, she has a lot of gifts with that, but we also have an animal sanctuary. Her deep connection was with animals. My deep one's with people. So we utilize a lot of the funding to rescue animals. So we have about an 80 animal rescue, all kinds of cool babies out here. And then we facilitate really beautiful, really divine and powerful healing retreats every single month at our Texas location. And then sometimes we do them in Belize and Costa Rica and in Colombia.
Amazing. And when did you start it, more or less?
Yeah, so to give you the short version, it was really from my wife. It's really wild how our wounds were symbiotic. I had really severe abandonment wounds and like led to addiction and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I like needed to hear I like physical touch and physical and like words of affirmation. I needed to hear that to know I was like loved back then. And then Megan had severe like sexual trauma for like a decade at a young age, so that created severe like that created 7 autoimmune diseases later on in her life when she got to her mid 30s. Suppressed trauma, suppressed emotions over time literally creates disease in the body. And anyone that has sexual abuse, it goes one way or the other, like hypersexual activity because they think that's what love is, or like closing off. Hers closed off. So we had very different opposing wounds when we got together. So it's been wild working, really consciously working through those wounds. And to get to the point of how this path came up, nothing was working to heal her autoimmune stuff. It was wild. Insomnia, PTSD, all kinds of things. And then again, to give you the short version, we were guided to ayahuasca. And when we sat with it, ayahuasca allowed her to go in and start to release some of the suppressed childhood abuse. So I'll never forget in her first 2 ceremonies, there was so much released. Her first 2 autoimmune diseases were healed in those first 2 ceremonies, lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. Still had a ways to go on her healing journey. Healing does not happen overnight, it's in layers. But the first 2, once I witnessed that, I was like, whoa, like there is something I don't understand, but really special about this medicine. Then connected with some incredible teachers that I'm very blessed to have that took me under their wing in Colombia, in the Amazon. And yeah, the next 7 years, I've been going to every few months over there, learning about ayahuasca, how to work with it. I was initiated a few years ago to serve the medicine, so I serve it here in Texas with my wife assisting, and I have a team of facilitators that fly in for it. Internationally, our teacher serves it, and I just assist our teachers. But yeah, that's kind of summarizes it all.
So you started like a long time ago.
Yeah, almost a decade. Yep.
Amazing. And so far, how many people have you worked with, and how was your approach of like actually being a coach? Did you love it and you expanded?
I've been really blessed to work with thousands of people over the years because we work with about 10 to 12, 10 to 15 people every retreat. We do multiple retreats a month. We've done a lot of international where we do more people because our teachers are there. But it's been beautiful because so many ailments, and again, not to get too much into it right now, but there's a lot of corruption in all the major systems foundationally, and they've really convinced and manipulated people into what healing is. And at the root of 99%, in my personal experience, it doesn't have to be everyone's experience, but what I've witnessed time and time again of any kind of disease or sickness, it's rooted in suppressed emotions. It's rooted in suppressed traumas. And it's wild. The things that we see healed, it's pretty miraculous. And to see, and some of it's spiritual ailments too. That's a whole nother topic. Some of it's ancestral stuff that's passed down from family to family until some being says, I'm going to stop the cycle. I'm going to be the black sheep. I'm going to face these uncomfortable conversations and things and work through that. But it's incredibly rewarding. It's incredibly beautiful. This path, as you know, like there's so much unspoken of sacrifice that is like a necessary piece if you really want to reach certain levels, not from an egoic perspective, but to get really efficient. Personally, I'm all about becoming really efficient, but it's a balance of becoming as efficient as you can while giving yourself a lot of love and grace in the process. Since part of the human experience is like totally screwing up and falling on your face, learning, humbling yourself, and getting up and continuing to go. But yeah, it's been absolutely beautiful.
And I was wondering, like, when you met your wife and you started understanding how you could help each other, how did you come up with the idea of helping other people as well? It was basically naturally coming after what you did on yourself and on her?
Yeah, so some of this I can't totally explain. Like I've always personally been in leadership positions in my life. So that's something that's always kind of like called to me, and I love people and I love the mind. I'm obsessed with how the mind works, how conscious communication works. And I think it's just such a beautiful gift. Now, when we got together, it was really just about like us figuring our own healing out, especially her. And not to, I had my stuff too, but not at the level she did. She was the sexual abuse from like 7 to her mid 20s because she kept attracting like the same kind of guys until something shifted. I had addiction stuff too. I had alcohol issues, other addiction stuff. I was very successful externally, but it was an absolute shit show internally. And so I once I learned how to heal, the root of addiction is actually also some kind of suppressed uncomfortable experience that makes someone really uncomfortable in their body. And when you're uncomfortable in your body, any kind of short-term escape or pleasure or whatever is going to feel more, it's going to feel better than being in your body. So that's where addiction actually starts. It's something, suppressed emotions, suppressed traumas. So my point to answer your question is, once I was able to heal mine and work through mine with plant medicines, and then I was able to learn what I had to kind of become as from a divine masculine perspective to hold conscious space for my wife, and the divine feminine has so much power and so many emotions that flow through, and it can be really erratic, but not in a bad way. It's part of that gift of being able to feel so much. And if you have stuff suppressed, whenever that healing process starts, it's important for, if there's a masculine partner, to be able to center it consciously. So once we learn this really unique process of healing that can take place, we wanted to share it, because me literally witnessing all my wife's autoimmune symptoms go away, and her be able to sleep peacefully at night, her be able to like eat foods without weird gut stuff happening, like, was everything. So it's been beautiful to take this little formula that she's become like a spiritual scientist. I don't understand it. I've just learned how to flow with it because she's had to learn how to do this stuff. But it's been really beautiful to take this formula she's created and help bring it to other people.
That's great. That's great. And it's something that fascinates me so much. And you said that you did mostly retreat, but recently you started also to have a program, right?
Yeah, the New Earth Academy. And I want to really, really thank you for that. Anyone that's listening, Maria is incredible. So I have a personal friend, her name's Greta. And when we first met, I actually was mentoring her for a few years. And she took off more than I've been blessed to work with a lot of people. I used to do a lot of life coaching, and I still love mindset and like spiritual type of coaching, in a sense, leading people back to themselves in their own way. But my point is with Greta, it actually switched. I learned something. She took off so deeply. She started sitting with ayahuasca, and all these different guidance things come in. Ayahuasca gives you very uncomfortable homework for your life. But I've never seen someone integrate the uncomfortable homework so well. Most of the time people can do like 20 to 50% of it because it's not fun stuff, but it's transformative. She took off. She started like implementing all the things. And now like I started learning from her like weekly. I follow her content. I love it. Greta told me about Maria. And Greta's like, look, I don't know what it is, some kind of block with getting a coach. I don't know what it is. It's probably my own personal thing, but I never have had one. But Greta's like, she got real with me. And I so appreciate directness. Like, I really appreciate that. And she's like, you need a coach, and this is the person you need to work with. And I'm like, all right. I trust Greta completely. So I started working with Maria, and it was so beautiful because there was so much I got from it, but it wasn't what I expected. The first thing that I did get tangibly, she really helped me set up the New Earth Academy, which was a really beautiful way. It's like my little baby. I love it. Basically, I love the path of mastery. It's a personal thing I teach. Everyone has their own path of mastery, mastery of energy, mastery of the mind. So it's really, in my personal opinion, advanced lessons that I've kind of learned through the ayahuasca path that I teach really deeply about meticulousness of energy every Wednesday. And people, I had a bunch of, she taught me how to have like market it, have people join it. And now not only is it something that helps a ton of people every week, but it's also a really beautiful reoccurring revenue at the same time for us. So really, really beautiful. And then as I went deeper with Maria, she helped me discover what I really don't want to do and what I really want to focus on, because it's so important to be clear about what you want to do. And I thought I wanted to do one thing. And then Maria helped me create this stream of income, which was great, and to help people, and then help me realize within myself being about what I do want to work with. So it was instrumental. It was everything. And I could not recommend anyone that's listening, chat with her, connect with her. It will really speed up the process. It's not like a coach or mentor is ever necessary. They'll save you so much time. Like if you don't want to waste 3 years figuring out what you can figure out in a month or two with a coach, work with Spend the Funds. It's so worth it.
You are treating like the academy is like a membership for you, right?
Yeah,
And
it's like a $100 a month membership.
how many people you have inside, more or less?
We have about 22 people right now, and I would say solid. About 15 to 17 show up every call, so it's pretty solid. I do need to be more about growing it, but I'm really happy with where it's at right now. We got a good crew.
So if someone wants to work with you, in what way they can work? They can have this, they can participate to this membership, or otherwise the retreats, or you do also mentorship, right? One-on-one.
Yeah, I do that. And anyone that wants to work with me, feel free to connect with me, shoot me a DM. I make it a personal choice every evening to go through and respond to all my DMs. The New Earth Academy is a really cost-effective way to work with me, and anyone that joins, I also got this from Maria too, but anyone that joins gets a one-on-one call. So I do a one-on-one for an hour, like learn more about you, where you're at, where exactly you're trying to go, what you're looking for, because any kind of patterns in someone's life, whatever the pattern is, whether it's love, whether it's intimacy, whether it's abundance, whatever it is, there's a root to the pattern. So I kind of can help you just go, what's the root? Energetic, spiritual, like what, there's some kind of root. And if we can rewire the root or heal the root or just take a lot in the spiritual community, it's really just a lot more about taking a lot more action. Rather than, Maria, you had a good post on that too. I've been working in the healing space for years, but you had a post about like, healing's important, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's just taking more action and like putting yourself out there and actually doing the freaking work, and not like there's a whole spiritual community that like just doesn't take action. So that's a whole nother thing. But you can work with me through New Earth Academy. You can message me. I respond to my DMs. Ayahuasca, there, in my opinion, I do my best not to influence that. That's a very personal, intimate calling, because you will go on a very deep journey to the deepest parts of yourself. And and there's no judgment in this, but not everyone's ready to go to that depth within themselves, because you're gonna have to face any little shadow. You're gonna have to face anything that may be an ancestry. Every person has a very unique journey. I've set like hundreds and hundreds of times, because it's my path. I still train with it. Every journey's been 100% unique. You can't have an expectation, because it's this really powerful grandmother spirit that you consent to like working with. And so my point of that is, anyone that's called to ayahuasca, let me know. I'm happy to chat with you, answer any questions about it. Usually ayahuasca comes up when there's some kind of big next step. There's some kind of big redirection in your life. And it usually has to do with purpose-driven work. And there's some kind of deep thing that needs to be released that's creating this resistance and patterns. So it's a really transformative time in your life that's going to bring a lot of challenges, but it's really beautiful. So if ayahuasca is calling you, you'll know in your heart. It's not a brain thing. It's a deeper thing. Message me. I'm happy to chat with you about it. We do retreats every month in Texas.
Actually, what you said, I love it, because the reason why I love so much having clients in the spiritual realm like you and Greta is because you are actually legit guys. Like, you are not talking easily about this type of things. You do not mainstream it or try to just attract people for the sake of making money. You are actually sensitive about it and very transparent, which is something that is super important in the spiritual realm, because nowadays there are so many people calling themselves spiritual coaches when they're not. Actually, they are misleading, and they can make the situation even worse if they're not real, like spiritual people.
It's important, and not a lot of people talk about this in the spiritual community. And everyone, this is just my experience, so it definitely doesn't have to resonate. But I found everyone has their own personal path of mastery and what they're like, maybe why they're here. And part of mine is actually mastery of spiritual warfare. And a piece of that is the deception. There is a lot, wherever you are with anyone, discern whoever you're sitting with in these spaces, any kind of healing with. Discern in your heart and spirit, discern, because at the root of whoever's speaking, the root is either service or self. It's one of the two, actually. The feeling you'll get and you can tap into is, here's some information, I hope this is helpful to you, or it's follow me and listen to me. And it's a discrete difference, but you don't really, and this isn't for fear, nothing like this at all, but you don't want to open yourself up to people that are of self. And in the spiritual communities, there is some deception and manipulation going on out there. So just discern it, feel into your heart, get references, talk to people in your community you trust, that kind of thing. And the only other thing, Joy asked one question on here I want to answer because I get this question a lot. Do I have to remember it to heal it? No. Megan did not have to remember. She did not relive any of her sexual abuse. Now, I cannot tell you what's going to happen with you. Some people have disassociated from things they don't even remember in childhood. I had an experience. I didn't know. I had nowhere near what Megan had, but I had a little molestation thing that I didn't even know about until I had to go back and remember because I blacked it out. And that helped me in a certain way in my life I didn't even expect. So my point is, I can't tell you yes or no, but I do want to say you don't have to relive something to heal it at all. Megan just purged it. She literally, transparently just had to like purge all of the trauma that was held. She didn't remember a thing, didn't have to relive a thing.
And you have also huge platforms like on your Instagram, on your TikTok here. So if people want to get in touch with you or follow you, where they can find you?
If you do want to get in touch with me, yes, we have on TikTok about 160,000, Instagram's like 60K, and then Facebook, I'm big on Facebook too. I do a lot of content. I make videos each day, and I am very responsive when it comes to direct messages too. So you can reach out to any of those, and I'm more than happy to talk to whoever gets called. Yeah, Magical Heals, at Magical Heals, exactly this Magical Heals, at Magical Heals in all of them.
Okay. Okay, David, thank you so much. It was amazing having the opportunity of interviewing you. And I will see you next time on our next live or event that we do together or online somewhere.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Maria. And again, if you're not already follow along or looking to grow your presence or work, please tap in with Maria. She's made a massive impact in my work and life. So thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.